Now, as they get on, they do their landing. Their landing is unopposed, and they're starting to patrol movement towards one of their objectives. Here we go. When we passed San Carlos, 2 Gazelle helicopters had just been shot down by some of the fleeing enemy. Word very quickly went around that the crew had been shot in the water while trying to swim ashore. Our anger brought home the reality of war and introduced us to the type of enemy we would be fighting. I personally felt that if we could have caught those responsible, we would have killed them for the cowardly act. So there's some, cowardly acts, I guess is the word used. So the guys are trying to swim to safety and they get shot, the helicopter pilots. They get into a position and they hold up for a while in a security position. Back to the book. Guard sat behind the SF gun for 2 hours on, 4 off. There's no sleep to be had. What with the cold rain, ponchos flapping all over the place, and everyone restlessly changing positions all the time. It was a great first night. So they're out there, they're freezing. It's that's one thing they weren't really prepared for. They weren't really prepared for this cold weather. But that's how they kick off. No enemy contact yet, other than what they can see off in the distance. They get gathered up for a little morning meeting. Back to the book. Pete Gray gathered the NCOs around him for a daily brief and informed us of the things we weren't interested in, but also informed us that A Company and C Company had a blue on blue sometime earlier. Apparently, both companies had patrols out to look for the RGs who had escaped on our landing. One patrol had spotted the other and asked for mortars on their position seen. In turn, the other company asked for artillery on the first company. So a battle between A Company and C Company, both firing small arms at each other. Within minutes, the operations officer in charge realized the error and radioed for a ceasefire. But not before 3 to 4 lads had been badly shot up, 2 of them suffering head wounds. The ops officer was temporarily removed from the task. So, again, we got relatively inexperienced guys. They're out there, and again, obviously I highlight that because blue on blue is a real thing. And people don't think it's going to happen. I think Leif was talking about this. If you would have asked someone in TU Bruiser, he said, what are the chances that we're going to have a blue on blue on our deployment? People would have been like 0%. They would have said 0%. Because it's that taboo. Yeah. And the fact that, there's a blue on blue that we talk about in extreme ownership, but there's blue on blues all the time in Ramadi. Yeah. And this is another example of how easy it is to have it happen between 2 companies in the same battalion.